Hi, this is Erin with Transformed by His Truth. I'm doing a quick video today that was done by Newsweek magazine about Biden and how his State of the Union address was anything but. Um, it's entitled Biden's toxic nightmare of a speech made Americans miss Trump. President Joe Biden has always been a mean, self-serving, demagogic hack. Now he's a mean, self-serving, demagogic hack with clear cognitive issues, an extreme hatred for half the country, a willingness to weaponize his government against his political opponents, and an easy fluency with lies. All of these dangerous elements were on obvious display during his malicious State of the Union address. Biden came off as an unstable, disturbed man who used a speech meant to be a unifying discussion on the state of the country as a launching pad for his re-election campaign, complete with vicious attacks on his predecessor and general election opponent, President Trump, and the tens of millions of Americans who support him. A ferocious attack on America First, the speech was also a tone-deaf celebration of Biden's historically catastrophic record. It was reminiscent of his September 22nd speech in Philadelphia, which was marked by a deep red, almost demonic backdrop and dark threats about going to war with Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans who represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic. That's what Biden said. That unhinged language was resurrected in his State of the Union, reminding us that he has no intention of changing his destructive policy or rhetorical direction. In keeping with his America Last approach, Biden strolled in a half an hour late, forgot to wait for his formal instruction, and then began with a clarion call for billions of dollars more, not for America's borders, but to defend Ukraine's borders. His choice to start with Ukraine was a deliberate slap in the face to all Americans who care about the profound damage he is inflicting here at home. It is supposed to be a State of the Union address, not a State of Ukraine address. He then used Ukraine to smear Trump once again as some sort of Putin stooge, while railing against him for the January 6th Capitol riot. See, he seemed to imply, all dictators are alike. It was a disgusting attack not just on Trump, but on all of his supporters, whom he assails as insurrectionists. Perhaps the most egregious moment came when Biden raised Laken Riley, a promising young Georgia nursing student bludgeoned to death by an illegal alien who had entered the country via Biden's wide-open southern border. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, wearing a shirt honoring Riley, demanded that Biden say her name. Biden then proceeded to call the woman Lincoln Riley, which was more insulting than if he had not mentioned her at all. Imagine if he'd have screwed up George Floyd's name. His disgusting display was compounded when he blamed Republicans for his own cataclysm at the border, which he could reverse today if he wanted to, but he doesn't want to because flooding the country with illegals and erasing our border is his plan. Biden's remarks about the Israeli-Hamas war were equally atrocious. As members of the Hamas caucus in his own party, Representative Rashida Tlaib and Cori Bush wore Palestinian keffiyehs and held up signs calling for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. Biden reprimanded Israel and proposed building a pier to facilitate humanitarian aid to the Palestinians, while assuring us that no Americans would be endangered. His slobbering pandering to the anti-Israel pro-Hamas radicals in his party was pathetic and perilous to Israel and regional security. Biden then attempted to tout his disastrous economic policies by telling massive whoppers such as, "My administration cut the deficit by $1.7 trillion. In fact, since Biden became president, the baseline deficit has grown by nearly $6 trillion. He also continued the Obama-Biden class warfare heralding, "We will make the rich pay their fair share." According to Biden's own IRS, the top 1% of U.S. taxpayers now pay an all-time record high of 46% of all taxes. And perhaps his biggest economic lie of all, "I inherited an economy from Trump that was on the brink." By January 2021, Trump had in Biden the fastest economic recovery from any crisis on record, with 33% growth in the third quarter of 2020 and 4.1% in the fourth quarter. Inflation was at a low 1.4% and gas was $2.39 a gallon. It was a true Trump post-COVID boom, which Biden and the Democrats promptly and deliberately squandered in pursuit of astronomical spending that drives suffocating inflation. Snickers bars are smaller for the same price because of your out-of-control spending, Joe Biden. And then, of course, there was the delivery. In a presidential speech, there is a place for righteous anger, but it must be used sparingly and judiciously. Biden was angry throughout the address. There was no modulation or thoughtful application of emotion. He and his handlers believe his consistent rage will equate to competence, when the exact opposite is true. His one manic, irritable speed reinforced the image of a demented old man incapable of doing a job. The entire speech was a disgraceful spectacle unworthy of our great nation. But there was one silver lining. It made the American people miss Trump, his strong leadership and booming economy, enforced border and world peace. After Biden's debacle, we can't wait to put Trump back in the White House, is the end of that article. Why wouldn't they get in there and tell us all the positive things that they're going to do instead of attacking Trump and attacking this and attacking that? That's not the State of the Union address. That's an attack the other side situation anyway. So I just thought you might want to hear that article on a different approach to Biden's State of the Union address. So I hope you have a good day. Thanks for listening. Bye bye.